Unstoppable by Cynthia KERSEY. 45 powerful stories of perseverance and triumph from people just like you. Unstoppable. I have developed over the years a whole group of important people important to me that I consider mentors. Now they may be the gardener in the estate down the road. They may be a farmer who milks his cows. They may be a very special professor. It may be someone I've never met, but only read about, like author Gabriel Garcia Marquez. One of my dreams is to meet him, but those are my mentors. George Eliot, the great novelist. Jane Austen is a mentor of mine. In terms of language, so I've formally constructed this structure in my life of mentors. Martha Stewart. Unstoppable. He failed to make the grade in school, but his team concept helped him build a business empire. Reading, writing, and arithmetic. The three R's are the foundation of all education. The essentials for success in life. At least that's what we've always been told. Paul Ophelia made his way through school proficient in only one out of the three, but that didn't stop him from becoming one of the most remarkable business success stories of the latter 20th century. For Paul, the printed page has always been his greatest obstacle. He flunked second grade because he didn't know his ABCs. His reading and spelling were so poor, he was pulled out of public school in the third grade and placed in a special class with slow learners. 6 weeks later, his mother had him tested and learned that her son wasn't mentally deficient after all. In fact, he had an IQ of 128. She immediately took him out of that class, but her only option was to put him back into public school system. Endless visits to eye doctors and reading specialists didn't offer any answers. Unfortunately, the world still had a lot to learn about dyslexia. Fortunately, Paul had strong support from his parents. While everyone else around me made me feel stupid, my parents were always on my side. They joked that they had to spend $50 on tutors and special classes for every word I learned to read, but they never blamed me. They only offered encouragement. Despite his limited success in school, Paul said he still felt good about himself because he could play chess and other games really well. At an early age, Paul showed a fascination with the stock market. His father, who was in the clothing business, had taught Paul the importance of saving and investing money. When Paul was 8, his father helped him buy his first stock. Throughout his school year, Paul continued investing his allowance. When Paul finally graduated from high school, he ranked near the bottom of his class. He'd been fired from his job as a fountain boy for misreading orders. He'd lasted only one day pumping gas because his boss couldn't read his handwriting on the charge slips. I was convinced that I was unemployable, Paul said. I also realized that if I wanted to do anything significant with my life, I'd need the help of others. As a teenager, that help came from two of Paul's cousins. The cousins had decided to earn money by painting address numbers on the curbs in front of homes. And while Paul couldn't be in charge of painting the numbers in the right order, he could certainly sell the service door to door. The business folded abruptly when the three found out they hadn't used quick dry paint and their numbers were running into the gutter. The three then tried their hands at running a roadside vegetable stand with more success. That summer, Paul learned something that would set the course for his future business. My father made women's clothes, and I sold vegetables. Over time, the vegetables would rot and the clothes would go out of style, Paul recollected. I realized that I didn't want to run any business that had inventory. While keeping his eye out for the right business opportunity, graduating from college became an important goal for Paul. He didn't want to feel inferior to anyone. In order to get accepted at the University of Southern California, USC, he'd have to earn a B average in community college. This goal was formidable since Paul had barely graduated from high school. But he enrolled in his local community college and earned that B average with the support of friends, tutors, and a little ingenuity. He took courses that focused on his strengths, algebra, geometry, and finance, and used creativity to get through the others. He took a class in great plays instead of a traditional literature course that required reading 17 books. A lifetime of reading for someone with dyslexia. And he postponed freshman English until his last course at USC, where he barely earned a D. Paul entered the University of Southern California, where he majored in finance and graduated with a C average. While he was at the university, Paul discovered the business he had been looking for. I was assigned to a study group to work on a class project, but because of my dyslexia, I couldn't read or help with the paper, he recalled. I made a deal with the other students that if they would write the paper, I would be the group's gopher. Paul spent hours at the campus library making copies for his group and became intrigued by the copy machine. Copy machines were a fairly new development in the early 1970s. And as Paul observed, the machine operated so simply, all you had to do was plug it in. Just as importantly as a business, photocopying required no inventory. Paul had studied product life cycles in a marketing class and felt certain that photocopying was going to revolutionize document reproduction in the decades ahead. In his fifth year in college, he borrowed $5,000 from a bank, rented a former hamburger stand near the university, and set up a small photography shop for students. Again, Paul quickly realized that he needed the help of others to make the business a reality. Operating and maintaining machines were not exactly his forte. Paul quickly found a local student who was blessed with the mechanical skills that he lacked and took the student on as a partner. They charged 4 cents a page, well below the dime a page charge in the campus library, and the little business boomed. I knew I had a concept that would work on any campus, Paul said. To help me open and finance new locations, I took in partners who put up cash and gave me a controlling interest in each store. This allowed me to expand rapidly without the need for outside capital. Building partnerships became a key factor in the growth of Paul's business. In the beginning, Paul found fellow students who wanted to become a part of his team. He required a minimal initial investment and encouraged them to drive up and down the West Coast and open new locations near colleges with enrollments of 20,000 students or more. In addition to finding partners to share in the risk and success of his business, Paul established a company culture that fostered self-respect and motivation. Paul never liked the term employee or subordinate or the idea of working for someone. Because of his philosophy, all employees were referred to as coworkers. Everyone from the frontline person running the cash register to the co-owner partner. And everyone shared in the profits. Paul's goal was to make the co-workers feel like valued members of the team and have what he called happy fingers, the knowledge that as co-workers rang up sales, they were benefiting personally. But the team concept didn't stop there. Paul developed strategic alliances with premier vendors such as Xerox, Kodak, and Sprint. By working together, Paul could supply his stores with upgradable state-of-the-art equipment that was leased rather than purchased. This arrangement minimized the need for capital and ultimately allowed Paul's business to stay ahead of the competition. By 1990, there were 480 Kinko's stores making copies across the United States. In just 7 short years, that number has grown to 850 locations worldwide, with 23,000 coworkers and 200,000 business customers every day. Amazingly, until January 1997, Paul and his partners had no outside investors, and the company remained privately held. Kinko's brought in an outside investor to help finance an aggressive expansion plan. The investment firm holds approximately 30% of the company's equity. Paul and his partners have most of the remaining 70%. It's never been easy. In the 27 years Kinko's has been in business, we've had competitors beating down our doors, and we never had enough cash to implement the hundreds of ideas we'd like to. It's a miracle we were able to keep the company private for 27 years, pointed out. Paul pointed out. I didn't achieve that alone. I recognized the need early in life to have capable, motivated people around me and to create a team environment so that everyone could share in its success. Paul Ophelia may not have mastered his reading and writing. He may not have been blessed with mechanical skills, but he understood the value of bringing the right people together to accomplish, make things happen, and the value of a partnership and a team. In doing so, he created the largest retail provider of document management and business services in the world. My motto has always been that anybody can do it better than me. By enlisting the support of others and giving them equity in the business, I was able to focus on my strengths and develop a business that benefited everyone. Paul Ophelia. 45 powerful stories of perseverance and triumph from people just like